But the thing that's crazy about this season is like you have that, and then you have so much happening in the present day, and the fact that it all is like 12 episodes. I feel like it's a clinic on like pacing and stuff.
The 12 episodes kind of felt like 20.
What I was going to say about the church thing was that's what Attack on Titan I think succeeds at massively is the like trickling of information that I talked about is like they show you only exactly what they want you to know.
Erwin is like, I'm the hardest motherfucker alive. Advanced, like it's so good to me.
Facts. Like you've only lost once you stop fighting. And so that becomes like the anthem for the entirety of humanity is like, even against all odds, like if we keep fighting, we still haven't lost. And the show like repeatedly sets that moment up and then has the guy just get fucking eviscerated.
So this is like, okay, we got like 5 geniuses on the squad and we got a bunch of other people working with them to try to figure it out. They're asking the right questions, but
Yep. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to episode 62 of the Unboxing Life podcast. Today on our little show here, we are on part 2 of 4 of our series on Attack on Titan. So we'll be reviewing season 2 and season 2 only today. So if you haven't seen it, turn back now. This is your official spoiler warning because we will be getting into heavy plot discussion and everything like that. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it and then come back.
I'll really be dissecting it, so
yep.
On that same note, one of us has not seen past this point, and none of us have read the manga. So please do not, get on your manga tip in the comments.
Exactly, for sure.
That can happen. Yes,
please keep any and all comments to be only season 1 and 2 related.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, very nice. Okay, so with that being said, I'm Cameron. I'm one of your 4 hosts for today. With me as well, I got Mikasa's scarf, aka Treasure.
Yes, you do, brother. Oh my god, I don't have a scarf on, but it's fine. That scene touched me in my soul. By the way, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts if you really enjoy this episode.
Yep, for sure.
Actually, that right there, you heard giant ass Brock Lesnar, the MMA man himself, David. What are you doing over there?
Yes, dude, I am a freaking fighter. I'm gonna be the ultimate fighting champion. Let's go.
Awesome. And last but certainly,
that's what UFC is.
Yeah, I know.
And then lastly, we got my man Alex, aka the Beast Titan. What's that all about?
The Beast Titan. I'll tell you, you got the Beast Titan, but I'll tell you what about him. He's corny. He's a punk. He ain't dirty, and he definitely ain't no kid. I'm the Beast Titan.
All right.
So there you have it.
Exactly.
As usual.
Run for his money.
As usual, we are out here doing the most. So with that, with all intros out of the way, we will go right into traditions. So I think first up, we're going to hear a quote from my boy Trevor.
Oh, look at you picking me. Little old me.
It do be happening.
All right. It do be happening. So I went for a haircut, as I normally do, with my lovely aunt who cuts my hair. And in exchange, I give her Starbucks because she won't let me pay her. But she said some quote right after she was done, and I texted it to myself on March 20th, and I told her I was going to use it on the podcast, and I never have. So we're going to do it on the podcast. And it's actually pretty applicable for the show, and it's a really quick one. It says, "Growing old is a privilege denied to many." And I thought that kind of hit me pretty heavy. Like, a lot of people like to say that like life is short, and it can feel short with time slipping through your fingers, but it's also very fragile, especially in this show. People get killed on the regular and right in front of your eyes. So, that's all I had.
Very true, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
If you're old, you got lucky. And that's good. That's great. Celebrate.
That's the goal, man. We be making fun of old people, and that's the fucking goal. That's literally the goal, is to live as long as possible and stay as healthy as possible.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so I guess the message from Trev is, take care of yourselves, stay safe, all that good stuff.
Drink water.
Drink water.
Fucking water, man.
Hey.
Y'all don't drink water, man. We need to drink water. Y'all need to drink water.
All right. That's your sign to go drink water if you haven't. And even if you have, go drink water. So there you go. Next up, I think I'm going to take this spot. actually.
Oh,
Narcissist.
That's me. Gotta go sometime.
That's me.
Yeah, I'm really great at the podcast and humble too. So anyway, the fact today comes from a scene that we see pretty immediately in this season of a horse, one way or another, flying through the air, and we'll get to the context of that when we jump into plot discussion. But it reminded me of something that I learned about when I was studying, in like 5th grade, 6th grade, like medieval culture, medieval warfare and stuff like that. That something about that they used to use like the farmland around the castles and stuff like that for ammunition. And what ammunition is in the farmlands but cows. So, coming from a Time article, I can read you that the trebuchet was arguably the atom bomb of the Middle Ages, a game-changing siege engine that could catapult projectiles over unprecedented distances and heights. The machine lobbed giant stones, flaming barrels of pitch, and even the decapitated heads of enemies. Most noxious, though, was the widespread tactic of launching the rotting, diseased carcasses of livestock, mostly cows, over the walls of citadels and cities under siege, a form of medieval biological warfare. So, and they quote a 1340 siege in which a fortress fell because of the fact that they launched all these diseased cows into the castle and just like disease spread amongst the men. So it's just like... Humans have been doing fucked up shit in warfare since day one. We have absolutely no concern for each other. It's just like...
Is that where mad cow disease comes from?
That's probably not its origin, but it's probably involved.
yes.
So, yeah. So, crazy stuff that they used to do in siege warfare. Yes, Titan throwing enthusiast. That comes from further into the season when we get a whole nother Olympic sport going on there, but...
Are you a Titan literally throwing an enthusiast, or are you intrigued by the thought of throwing Titans?
I am an enthusiast of the sport of Titan
right?
throwing.
Yeah, Alex is right. It should have a hyphen with Titan and throwing. We were talking about English rules earlier.
Dang.
I guess. All right.
Yeah, I'm giant ass Brock Lesnar. If I didn't have the hyphen, I'd be giant ass Brock Lesnar.
Shit, man. I have a giant ass. I'm also Brock.
Jesus Christ. All right. So there you go. We used to before intercontinental ballistic missiles, we used to throw cows at each other. So there you go.
Much simpler time, and I think I'd rather go back to there.
That shit sounds disgusting, bro. I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I think that's an inane debate for another time. But
that's tough.
Maybe we'll do it last week.
Maybe that'd be funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
What weapons of war would you rather die from? All right. Well, anyway, that's my long-winded fact there. A little reminiscing on middle school history classes. So to get you out of the stink of mad cow disease, let's get a joke from Alex.
Yes.
All right. Let's get a joke. So what? This one, hold on. Let me shout out the user. It's from this one coming from Reddit user RZJ Stuff. Shout out to you.
Okay, nice name.
But
he's
got a good question.
I think he meant to say RTJ, but
exactly.
That's not what I meant to say because that's not his name.
No, the guy should have named himself that.
The other guy,
Yeah.
I know. We know. But anyway.
All right.
But anyway, the user he brings up a good point. We know that Titans like to eat some humans, but what is a Titan's favorite food?
I'm so unpunny right now.
Yeah, me too.
All right, it's ramen.
Oh
ramen.
God.
Dang,
wow, that's good. That's lit.
Wow, man.
I told David's never heard it. He never has.
Dude, if Rocio doesn't laugh at that, we have ramen at least once a week. If she doesn't laugh at that, I may question her relationship.
You must be sick in the head if you eat ramen once a week.
Ramen.
True. What the heck?
No pause.
Jeez.
Yo,
I I was when you initially said it, I was trying to think like I don't know, fucking medium rare or something. Like I couldn't think of it, but then it's just Raw. Is the answer.
Exactly. Yeah.
WWE SmackDown versus Raw men. All right.
Nice.
So
Gordon Ramsay would not be pleased.
no.
Right.
Where's the lamb sauce? All right, David, tell us.
Yes.
With your track of the week, where is the lamb sauce?
Okay, the lamb sauce is on Shinzo wo Sasageo because I can't get creative when the intro is this good, man. This is my favorite intro. Now that we're getting into it, the
Let's
full
go.
version
Or
of AOT, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is also the full version is what I'd like to recommend because they go pretty ham towards the back half. You know, get to hear that with the intro. So it's by Linked Horizon. I think they did quite a few of the intros. So check it out. Let's freaking get into it, man.
I will say the instrumentation on these openings are grandiose. Like they're very very lively. I love it.
Yeah,
I'm like the more I listen to the first season's OP, the more I like it.
nice.
It's kind of a grower, not a shower. I'm totally fine with that.
I'm glad I agree on you. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, glad I did not show you first.
There's not a whole lot to talk about this intro, though. Honestly, like it's a pretty run of the mill AOT intro for me. Didn't really.
Yeah, I think it. I'm in David's same boat. I think this is my favorite of the 4 seasons.
That's good. That's good.
It's that's about all there is there. It's just the slow build through like the first half of it, and then you get the Sasageo. You get the whole choir involved, and like you said, it's a big orchestra. The whole orchestra's going ham. And you just get the visuals of like the entirety of all the soldiers pouring over the wall into the sea of titans, and then that really nice animated bit where Mikasa's flying through the air and then Eren joins her, and then they do like a 360 spin throw thing. Then it's like the animation's clean as fuck and it spins around them 360 and stuff, and then he transforms midair and goes into the fight with the armored titan. It's a really good setup for the season. I think we talked about previously about like intros spoiling seasons of like it shows you scenes of things that you didn't necessarily know was going to happen. In terms of this, I'd argue that it doesn't do that because like the armored titan is a foe that we've seen extensively. Like this is someone that we're going to come up against again. So for them to like preview that fight like that, I think works fine for the purpose of the show.
Yeah, I think so. It's nothing too bad. Yeah. Yeah, I like how it's like a thing from the show. Like they say Shinzo Sasageo in the show, and it's like give your heart, and it's like so this song feels like the anthem of like all in like the Survey Corps and stuff, which I love it so much for that.
Mm-hmm.
It absolutely is the answer. It's my favorite too.
Let's get it.
It just makes me want to enlist right away into the Titan, into the Scout Regiment. Yes. I will be there.
This is y'all's
sign me up.
Exactly. This is our what?
This is y'all's instant crush.
There you go.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's yeah, just the rhythm, the chanting, the choir, the instrumentation, like you said.
It builds up so nice. Yeah.
It's very nice. It's a very good one.
Nice song. That was a very nice song.
Definitely one of my favorite intros of all time as well. But I don't know where it would place. So we definitely lit.
Dope.
Yeah. We lit.
Cool. Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the season, so let's hop into the plotline, my guy.
Yes, let's jump into it.
Yeah.
Short season, man. Get straight to the point. I mean, just starts off like, all right.
Rocio was asking me like how I felt about this season compared to the first, and I'm like, it's kind of hard to compare them because they're like two completely different feels of shows. Like one is like totally focused on like the front lines and the war, the actual war, and then this one's more drama focused and like kind of builds the backstory a little bit more, the motivations of the antagonists and all that. Good
character
stuff.
Focused a lot of the time. It's developing characters. It's shaping the story around their motivations, specifically like the two opposing sides.
All the battles seem to be self-contained for the most part. Like at the castle and the like the last big hurrah is like sort of back in season 1, but it was a fun little season, man.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. We don't get a battle of Trost in this season where there's 7 episodes in a row of just one battle across an entire city. It's like you said, they're very self-contained. They're very one purpose. Go get Eren, come back with Eren. and then that's the whole thing. We talked about last time in season 1, like the whole idea of like we would hate to see a kidnapping arc, like if Eren actually got taken away and was gone for a while. And so he gets captured again, and they have to go get him again, which is like a little exhausting in and of itself, because you want to see like him pop off and stuff like that. But I think it is still a really good. I mean, not still. I think it is a really good season. I think it's well written and everything. But yeah, starting from the top, we get the post credit for season 1 that we talked about briefly is exactly where we pick back up, with the Titan's face peeking out of the broken piece of wall, and there, atop the wall, Hanji and Pastor Nick, and they cover it up with the sheets, and Hanji's like, what the hell is going on? And Nick stonewalls her and is like, let me back down. And so Hanji says, certainly, and hangs him over the edge and goes, will straight down do? Which Hanji is like, continues to assert herself as a baller. So yeah, that's a really good scene where, we need information, and this is the sort of the setup of a lot of the season of like, what the hell does the church know that we don't? And they expand on that throughout the season.
And he's so determined not to give information, like in devotion of his beliefs, that he basically gives up on life, and he's just like, hey, can you let me go? Just do it. Like, you're gonna threaten me to do it.
Yeah,
I can't stand him. I can't stand him.
Homie just becomes.
I want to punch him in his face. You know something that you're keeping from the people. What are you keeping? What else are you hiding? I want to punch him.
Yeah.
This is. Go ahead.
Great. I mean, because season 1, it's like, all right, all of humanity's in the walls. Surely, we're all just gonna be band together, and like whatever we know, we all know, right? And it's like, nah. Like this especially. There's actually something towards the end of season 1, like in the middle of the credits, that has like a super long story of like this guy trying to dig under the walls, and there's like some secret around it. So it sets that up kind of, and then it's just like, well, clearly like not everyone is on the same side, and people are doing weird freaking stuff. And I love the mystery aspect of this season. It's just they do it so well, I think. And it starts from the beginning.
It goes from them.
Little horror too. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember his name, but when they get attacked for the first wave, when they go back in time like 12 hours, which kind of confused me now that I'm like thinking about it, because I was talking to Alex and I'm like, dude, I can't kind of keep up with the timeline. Like, I thought they were way back in time. Like the first couple episodes felt like a past, like maybe 5 years before they joined the army, but it wasn't. It was like 12 hours. I just had that completely fucked up. But
you mean when they're all hanging out in the outpost? Yeah. I can get why you would think that if you didn't see them literally saying like 12 hours earlier. They do subtitle that, but it's quick. I can see you thinking that. But yeah, it's just we go from Erwin postulating conspiracy theories like throughout season 1 and like trying to figure out who's the enemy, this, that, and the other thing, and to confirmed conspiracy. Like, there's definitely something going on. There's definitely like people in power know things they're not telling us on purpose, and it could be costing lives, it could be doing something else. So that's the tone set, and then we get Titans instantly.
Like Trevor was getting into, the next part, like it immediately is like someone runs up and is like, all right, there's Titans in Wall Rose, and you're like, well, I mean, you like almost if you don't realize how big a deal it is, they definitely let you know after that. But like I remember like not realizing like, oh, like everything's fricked now. Like if they freaking like win, like right at the beginning of the season, they're like when they're going out to fight them, I forget his name always, but the dude from Levi's Squad is like, I think he's from Levi's Squad, like the second best dude in the Scouts
Mike.
or whatever. He's like Mike, yeah. He's like, this is now humanity's darkest day. Like we gotta freaking like. I think he says that. Or someone,
yeah, he does. He's like, this is the new darkest day in the history of humanity. Where Mika, he's a section commander. He's like equal to Levi, so he's not in Levi's Squad, but he's same position as, or I don't know, he's captain. Anyway, that's semantics. But yeah, so they do that. They make a point to show like the fact that they were all sequestered in this little outpost, and they make a point of like they don't have weapons but everyone else does and all this stuff, is they're trying to they're trying to wait and see if anything happens while they're all stuck there, so that they can prove their innocence. So they send the message, like, tell Commander Irwin it's likely that no one in the 104th Cadet Corps is an enemy of humanity, or whatever, something like that, because like the appearance of Titans while they were all stuck there supposedly proves their innocence, which is then in and of itself like a red herring for the rest of the season.
David,
did you finish your thought?
Yeah, I think so, but I was gonna sort of lead it into like your thought. We were talking about the horror aspect, because basically we have Mike going ham, and it's like classic Attack on Titan moment, but also him dying horribly is a classic Attack on Titan moment. Which
oh my god,
like
that was bone chilling. Like when he
oh yeah, it is bone chilling. It's the most horrifying death we had seen to that point.
Yeah,
the part where he's on top of the roof and he realizes that he needs to get out of there, so he calls his horse. And he's basically under the assumption that the horse is gonna be fine because the Titans don't eat it; they just eat the humans.
Yep.
And the Beast Titan just walking, and just grabs that shit, tosses it over there, and homie just has a full-on conversation with him after he's like done chomping on him, and homie basically got like bitten off, like almost, and then he's just laying on the ground, and homie's like, "Hey yo, stop eating him." So he kills the Titan that's eating him, and then proceeds to have a conversation with him.
Yeah, so that was immediately, Alex, David, and I all swallowed our tongues last episode when you were like, "Bro, I'm so glad the Titans don't talk," because season 2 comes out and like curveball instantly, the Beast Titan is just like, "Yo, what's good? Like, I speak Japanese. What's happening?" So
I know he says, "I know we speak the same language. You must just be like shitting yourself.
So
right now.
terrified,
way too scared to talk."
Yeah.
Which I would be too, but and then he kind of does the dumb ass thing where he's just, you think he's gonna. Oh well, Cameron just. Oh, there you go.
Gotta plug it in.
He does the very dumb ass heroic thing where it kind of gives you that hope that he's gonna survive, and he just has that power up or whatever. And he starts screaming at the Beast Titan, and Beast Titan's just like, "All right, dinner's right there."
Yeah, it's like, all right, man, you don't have any ODM gear. You're just gonna like cut it.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna climb him?
Gear. I know, right?
Yeah, I mean
he literally takes the ODM. Yeah.
he remembers his own words to one of his soldiers, which is like, "You've only lost once you stop fighting." And so that becomes like the anthem for the entirety of humanity, is like, even against all odds, like if we keep fighting, we still haven't lost. And the show like repeatedly sets that moment up, and then has the guy just get fucking eviscerated, where it's just like it just happens where it's like, if we keep fighting, and then they just die horribly over and over, and it's like just draining the hope out of the entirety of humanity.
That was definitely the moment where he should have retreated and had a game plan, got his equipment.
Yeah,
I think he would have been fine to retreat at least a little bit, but
homie had no
very horrible fucking death
chance once he got caught by the Beast Titan. Yeah, so
and the Beast Titan is drawn like a freaking. I don't know, dude. The freaking monster in your closet,
bro.
He looks like. He looks like a creeper.
Chupacabra.
The shading on his face, like the triangle, like edge teeth, like a shark or something. It's it's the monster in your closet for sure. So that's as brutal as the death as we've seen, and then we get the scene of them all shipping out. I think that's the next episode, and then Armin, like through thinking about like, oh, there's no breaks in the wall, there's nothing there, like there's no documents of like how the wall was made, it's just there, we don't all know, and the Titan in the wall means like the entire wall all around, all three of them could just be made of Titans.
Eden, get into a Titan and freeze your ass to it.
Yep.
Close up the hole.
Yep.
Exactly, coming up with a plan, which is like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. You just get the deductive reasoning immediately. Like, yeah, we see the hardening, so I guess it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
It would kind of be a weird thing. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's weird to me how it works, where they could just turn into their Titan form and then they just leave their Titan form.
Kind of
like
leave it. Okay, you and I are on the same wavelength, yeah.
Yeah.
Freaking Power Rangers mech, they're just like in it, controlling it, and then they just hop out.
Yeah, the
it's
meme
not
was
so much
like
an extension of itself, more is it like it's like a new incarnate of them every time.
Right.
the meme was like, no one wants to admit that Attack on Titan is just a mecha anime. It's like,
Yeah, I thought
Essentially, it is. It's just human mechs.
yeah, exactly. That's the whole joke.
Yeah.
So
Just
You're just waiting for
Gundam
like
on
all of them to form like Voltron.
God,
Titan.
yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
God, I swear to God, if they do that, they just cheerleading squatted up and
Good
shit.
God.
Start tossing each other in the air.
bro, that shit. Oh my god, that'd be ridiculous.
That would be baller as shit. We still got half a season left. You never know.
We still got.
That's
Have you-
true. I mean,
Oh,
for us, we do. Yeah.
I was gonna
For
say,
us,
have you already watched all of season 3, Trevor?
No, but I would assume that it doesn't happen as easy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway, so we got 3 and 4 left. So, so later on we get the scene with them in the cart with Hanji, who then confirms, like, she has the scene where she's looking at it under the microscope and stuff when they're trying to be shipping out, and they have it's Mikasa, Eren, and Armin in the back seat, in the back of the carriage with Levi, Hanji, and Pastor Nick, and they're like interrogating him basically, and they're like, yeah, the walls are made of Titan skin. Like, I analyzed this thing from Annie's crystal, and it's the same as the wall. So that's how that is.
Yeah.
Were you? What are we reacting to that with? Are you guys surprised?
How the fuck did it get there is what I want to know.
Yeah.
And why.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
What I want to know is that back to the whole church. These people clearly know. They knew there's Titans was in the walls. He's like, "Don't let them touch the sun. Don't let them touch the sun." I wanted to know what these bozos exactly think they're doing.
Yep.
They know that they feel like they don't have to tell nobody nothing. Nobody needs to know but them. And I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Whose side are you on?
It's
So like my only takeaway would be that whatever that Titan, I don't know if it's dead or it looks like it's dead, but like sunshine gives them energy, right?
Mhm.
So I would assume that they're afraid of it waking up somehow.
For sure. Yeah.
That's the only takeaway that I
That's
have.
a good point.
Yep.
Good point.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what it is. But yeah. It's so that's the scene in the back of the cart where Hanji says there's a funny moment between Levi and Hanji where Hanji's just staring at the rock, and Levi says, like, "Are your hobbies so boring that playing with rocks is somehow fun for you?" And it's just like they have all these little moments. But yeah, no, the what I was going to say about the church thing was that's what Attack on Titan I think succeeds at massively, is the like trickling of information that I talked about. Is like they show you only exactly what they want you to know. And that's when they're in the back of the cart and they say, is it possible that he somehow knows something more important than the fate of humanity itself? Is like, what could that possibly be? Like, within when I remember first watching it, I was like, I can't think of anything else that's like somehow more important than that. Like, I mean, I guess it's just like, yeah, it could be. We don't know. So it's like, it's crazy to think about, and they leave you so in the dark for so long, along with the protagonists. And I love the way that this show especially, but any show in general, does that, where it puts you in the shoes of the people you're trying to see succeed.
Yeah, and it's great because a lot of like especially horror stuff, but any like mystery thing, like there's like the common cliche of like the dumb protagonist, where it's like, how are you not like asking this question and figuring this out? This is like, okay, we got like 5 geniuses on the squad, and we got a bunch of other people working with them to try to figure it out. They're asking the right questions, but it's still like such a weird freaking situation that you don't know. Like, it makes sense that they're trying to figure it out, and every time they do, it's like, oh wow, like, it's a big deal. Yeah,
it's a great point.
It is like, oh wow,
it is like, oh wow, for sure. But what do we get into next is like they all disperse and they go to the different villages and they try to figure out where the breach in the wall is, basically.
Yeah, the Sasha episode I like a lot. That's episode 2.
Yeah.
The absolute fucking chill down my spine when I watched that little girl watching her mother get eaten for like hours on end, and she's like too paralyzed to move. I was like, fuck. I hate it.
My dumbass thought I thought that was like one of two things. One, a very bad sex scene the way that they had,
Jesus
the way
fucking
that she
Christ.
had,
What?
well, because the Titan's not that big, right? It literally like it fits into the house, and it looks kind
Pause.
of like a 6 foot tall human.
Yeah.
I thought it was either a really bad sex scene or a rape scene, and I was like, I didn't know which one it was. And then
dang.
they see him like eating her, and I'm like, okay, that's what that is. I was confused for like a good 20 seconds of the show, and I'm like, I don't really want this to be either of those things at all.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that would be
But
horrifying.
like, if you rewatch it, it's like he's holding her in a really weird position, not like to be eating her.
I get it. He is, and it's also like probably the smallest Titan you've seen by a long shot so far. Like,
He just looks like a naked man.
A big guy. Yeah,
I think it is supposed to be confusing in that manner. I didn't go that far, but I was confused in a certain way.
I get your mind flash into like the worst case scenario, especially with this show. It's like,
definitely.
what the freak? Like,
although I mean, they're all pretty worst case scenarios. So either one that you go, there's three really bad scenarios.
Yeah, the real one is she's getting eaten. So yeah, the fact that he's so small is freaky, because then it's just like when he like Sasha tries to kill him, she can't, and then they're like running out of the house, and when he's like going under the door, it's like, it's just some 8 foot tall dude just chasing you. It's like, oh god, that's so freaky.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's like the slow walk, but his stride is so, because he's tall, he can catch up without even running and all that stuff, and so you're just like sprinting away from something that barely looks like it's trying to chase you, and it's getting closer. It's like, fuck that. But yeah, she lands the one shot in his eye, and then is going to go for the second shot, but she decides to take the high percentage shot by just stabbing him in the eye with the arrow with her hand, which is a move that like basically should have killed her, but she slips out because of the blood, they say, which is crazy. Right. But like it shows you that she was like resigned to die in that moment so that the little girl could escape, which is, cool to have Sasha be built up like that, because until now she's just Potato Girl, right? She's just a comic relief character, but now she's an established badass.
And they give her the nice I believe it's that episode with a backstory with her father, right?
Yep.
It's like
living out in the woods.
And he's like, good old country dad, but he's like, times are changing. We got to sort of help people out, Yeah,
and I like that scene in the show as well. You can elaborate on it more, but they subtitle it with like the slang and with dropping G's and like fixin' and like double negatives like ain't no and stuff like that. It's like they subtitle it. So like that, I think I talked about that before, where it's like I would not be able to spot Japanese slang. I know a couple of phrases, but it's like I can't understand. I can't determine accented Japanese from non-accented, right? So it's cool that they subtitle it like that to actually show you this is what's going on.
Yeah, it's almost a little cheesy, but it makes like they got to do it, and I like. I look past it, but it's cool. Like we mentioned how they characterize people, and they do in almost entire episodes that are like, here's this character, here's their backstory, or they'll do it for maybe like 2 characters. But the thing that's crazy about this season is like you have that, and then you have so much happening in the present day, and the fact that it all is like 12 episodes. I feel like it's a clinic on like pacing and stuff, because.
I agree. The 12 episodes kind of felt like 20,
right?
And not
a lot.
in a bad way. But this one kind of dragged on a little bit, like not in a bad way. It was just like there was a lot going on, and they threw a lot at you, and there's still more to be uncovered. And it was only 12 episodes. I can totally see why they wanted it to be 12 episodes, considering how well it was written. They're just like, we don't have to have this fat if we don't need to, so we just kept it.
Yeah, which is nutso, because this season came out 4 years after the first season. So like,
man,
you get it, and then you wait 4 years, and then you get 12 episodes. Yeah, it is kind of risky. But hey, man, carried it through with the quality.
Doing it. So similarly, we get the episode where I think it's the episode after. Connie gets back to his village. And they see it's destroyed, but there's no blood. So this is a whole new mystery of like, why would Titans destroy a place with no humans and there's no remains anywhere? And they have the one Titan that's like too frail to lift itself, who's just like haunting as all hell.
And it's his mom.
And so I think that episode is called Welcome Home, which in Japanese is Okairu. And so
Yes.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Exactly.
Shout out Master Puppets. But yeah, it's so yeah, it's she like grovels out like the welcome home phrase, and as Connie is like leaving on his horse, and he turns around, and this is the first example that I caught, and there's a few more that I'm going to reference, and David and Alex, you guys might have seen these as well going throughout the season, but there's several examples throughout this season in which Reiner specifically starts giving away that he's like the mole, he's the traitor, basically. Where it's like, so he's next to Connie, and Connie hears this Titan say something, and obviously they're traumatized, they're in war, like crazy shit happens, so you hear that and you're like, am I, like, your first thought is like, I must be hallucinating, right? And so he turns to Reiner, and Reiner immediately says, no, I didn't hear anything, let's go. Like, before he asks the question, did you hear that? Reiner says, I didn't hear anything, let's leave. Which is like a very subtle, I think that's insanely good writing, where it's like the subtlest of giveaways of Reiner's trying to steer you away from the truth that you don't realize is the truth, or something like that. And there's several little ones like that that I'll mention as we go.
Yeah, that's super great. I noticed that he was like there, and that like he was just like watching it back, but I didn't realize he said it before he even asked the question. That's dope.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah.
There's one thing that I caught last season that I couldn't bring up because, I mean, we didn't know at the time. That is Reiner.
Yep.
But when they're fighting with Annie and everything is going down, and like Reiner kind of attacks Annie, there's like a point where like he takes off his hood and she sees that it's him. So like that's kind of like, to me, it's like a little bit of foreshadowing, like she knows it's him, so don't like go for him.
Yeah.
But he's gonna pretend like he's fighting.
Yeah, they reference that later in the season too. Is that scene when he quote unquote like, oh my, I mean, this is when they're unraveling the conspiracy, like right before they end up revealing themselves, and they do the whole backstory of how they managed to pinpoint them two as like the most likely candidates to be the traitors, and because of like their family records don't exist and all that good stuff. And so they do all that, and they say, you know, I mean, I guess I'll just do this now. The plan with when they went into the woods when the female Titan was chasing them in season 1, Erwin made it so that he gave different plans to different people, which said that Eren was in different places in the formation, and Armin remembers that like Annie attacked from the right side, and that's where Reiner and Berthold were told that's where Eren is located, and so that's like another piece of evidence that tells them like it's probably them. So it's all the insanely subtle things like that they call back to that just like make me love the show so much.
That's super smart stuff. Yeah, you love to see setup like that. And then when you're watching,
it's crazy. Exactly, because it's the replay value is you rewatch it and then you're like, that's what it is. Like there was times in season 1 where they're like talking about the Colossal Titan, and then it like the shot itself is showing Reiner in the shot.
Yeah,
it's like you don't even you wouldn't even, I didn't even begin to think that was the case when I watched it the first time, and then I see it. Yeah, man. It's like, huh.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. I'm sure it'd be a trippy second watch for me.
Yeah, it definitely is. There's so many subtleties.
I'm rewatching it, and I'm watching with my sister, and she's seeing it for the first time. So like when this stuff happens, I'm just like
biting, like fully
inside.
Right. Feeling that,
fully biting your tongue. Yeah,
yeah.
When you know, great. But they don't. It's like this with Trevor and for sure.
That just real quick, that village scene is I mean, I guess I almost don't even need to touch on it because it's just another example of the great mystery horror stuff of like like freaky, like god dang, like he thinks it's his mom, you see she has the same eyes, you know, you hear it talk, you're like, what the freak does that mean? And then like I think Mobilet goes to investigate, and that's when he like has a family portrait, he drops it and then picks it up upside down, which is how the tight head is, and he's like, ew, frick me. So, dang, they really do not.
I think about the village. They make the point like, where did everybody go? But I think the right question is, how did everybody go? Because we know. It's clear to see that they They obviously got up and turned into Titans and walked away, but how the freak did that happen? Is what I was wondering.
Yes, so even when we get the answer of like, oh, the most likely thing is they were all turned into Titans, the massive question, the burning question is, okay, how the hell do humans become Titans? Like, and we have some sort of like circumstantial context with the flashback scenes of Eren and his dad, because clearly Eren wasn't a Titan and then he was, so we don't know like how exactly that like transpired. So we have just tiny bits of evidence, tiny bits of context that we have to piece together for ourselves.
Didn't he get injected with something though? That's how he.
Yeah,
that's what they show you. Yeah,
in the flashback. Yeah. So we have little clues and whatever.
Yeah,
and it's like, dang, right?
Dad was a mad scientist.
So yeah, it's pretty nuts. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that's when we get to they confirm that everyone is that Titans are inside the wall, so they have to evacuate people again. And so there's this really good scene where like all the refugees are coming into the city, and Levi is there with Pastor Nick, and Pastor Nick like convulses. He like is like disgusted by like the mountains of refugees. And like Levi like grabs him by his collar and like pushes him towards him, and he's like, where do you think you're going? Take a good look at the faces of the people who've lost everything, the faces of everyone you and your people abandon. It's like, your actions have consequences. People are dying because you're not talking. Like, these are things that are happening to real people right now, and like the death doesn't give a fuck about your agenda.
Yeah.
So I like it.
Feed his ass to the Titans.
There you go.
Facts.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And then that's when he finally breaks and tells like the congregation of scouts around him that there's some girl that is in Eren and Mikasa and Armin's year of the scouts that is like the key to everything. Like, this is some girl that you need to find, and her name is blank, and then they go off to find her.
Yeah. And you have like the night at the castle with.
Yep, that's where we get to the castle.
They already did. We know she's Annie.
Yeah, exactly.
Big facts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they confirm that it's Krista that they're looking for, and they're all in the castle together, with Ymir, and that's where the whole Ymir arc kicks off. The battles inside of the castle where they like don't have their weapons, so they're just fucking improvising, so they push a whole ass cannon down the stairs at the Titan.
Reiner picks up a Titan and freaking like, what the freak, bro?
And I think Connie like slices its mouth open.
He's literally hanging it out of the window, and he's still chomping on his arm. I was like, I felt that so hard. I was like, dude, just let him go.
It's hardcore, bro. It's hardcore.
Awful. That was a great scene.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, there's like as that scene kicks off, I jumped the gun on it with talking about the cannon going down the stairs. But like they're like, oh, like the Titans could be inside, and he like very slowly opens the creaky castle door and looks down the stairs, and there's just a fucking Titan grinning at him in the pitch dark with the torchlight. Dude, the torchlight aesthetic of like the creepiness is so on point with all that.
Mm-hmm. Spooky times, yeah. I know, it made me like love. I was like, "Oh, Reiner's so dope, man! How's a human gonna pick up a Titan?" And it's just like,
it's a baller moment.
It's like the mom lifting the car off the infant, like, adrenaline, kind of like that. But then you realize he's a Titan.
That's pretty sick.
There's a funny moment then after when Krista's like patching Reiner up, and Reiner's like, she's being like super nice and tender and caring, and he's like, "Dang, gotta marry her."
Yeah, that line is hilarious.
Like,
I think he says it twice.
Yeah.
If he doesn't say it twice, someone else says it. But
I think
that one made me LOL real hard.
Yeah.
You just immediately.
There's very few bits of humor in the show, but when it's executed correctly, it's just spot
there
on.
There was an earlier one where Sasha comes back and reports to Hanji, and Hanji gifts her a steamed potato, like for a job well done, and Sasha's eyes just light up, and it's a 5-second moment, but it's so fun.
They do it right. Yeah. It's when it's there, like you said.
So yeah, they're like barely surviving on top of the castle. They see the Beast Titan in the distance, and yet another time where they give themselves away. If you go back and watch that scene, Berthold and Reiner's faces, their expressions are like impressed and amazed and like excited when they see the Beast Titan, as opposed to horrified, like implying there's some connection between them, like they know this guy, that kind of thing. So it's like
Berthold is a pussy. I fucking hate that guy so much.
True, honestly, he's like,
yeah, Berthold's character is crazy because it's kind of a roller coaster for me, like with what he does and what he goes through as the Colossal Titan. And they talk about I mean that's later on when he's on the neck of Reiner running away, and he has that whole speech that I kind of want to get to later because it's a whole scene in and of itself.
He is colossal. He's a colossal bitch.
exactly. That's what you need to know about him.
That's the intro right there.
He's a colossal bitch.
So yeah, they have that whole backstory of Krista joining the cadet corps and the snow training and so all the scouts that were protecting them at the castle end up dying horrible deaths because they run out of gas and knives and everything.
They go hard while they can. Yeah.
They go hard. They get mad kills. There's a baller moment where there's like, I didn't have the luxury to count. Don't even know how many I killed. Yeah.
High KD.
High KD.
For sure. And then
died going 7-1.
And then that moment where Ymir's like, you got a knife, and he's like, what are you gonna do with the knife? And he's like, she just says, I'm gonna fight with it. And they're like, what the fuck? And so she just jumps off the tower, and that's when you see the lightning, and you're like, oh shit, another one.
Yeah.
Somehow another one. We're just racking them up. We're racking up the Titans in the ranks.
Yeah, the DJ Khaled album came through.
Exactly.
Another one.
Yeah.
So it's just then we get the backstory of that snow mission, the snow training, where by pushing her down the hill and transforming into Titan form and carrying the injured guy back to camp herself. Like saves Krista's life because Krista is like resigned to die in the cadet corps because of whatever her past is.
Mir's an interesting character because like all these scout like veterans just died, and then like finally when they're threatened, she's like, okay, now I'm gonna fight. So you get the sense that she mainly cares about Krista, and it's like
she then
above anything else.
She then continues to operate as a wild card in the scenes going forward, in the fights going forward, is like her motivations are completely unaligned with either side, you find out. So it's like she's going to do what she wants to, basically, or like, and she ends up acting on obligation more than, personal want, which we'll get to. But she's just she could go either way the entire time. And so it's an interesting element to the season.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, they have that backstory. Ymir is popping off with her Titan, like just jumping around, shredding necks.
Throwing the bricks. She starts just tearing down the tower. Like
Historia
that was
yells.
A pretty baller moment.
Historia yells at him.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That was a pretty great moment. Just take it down the tower, and she climbs up there, and she's like, "Hey, yo, you want to live?"
Yes.
Like, grab on.
Grab on. Yeah.
And there's
her Titan is butt ass ugly.
Yeah.
And holy cock.
Yeah.
It is like a Furby on steroids, my G.
It's like a gremlin.
It's all gone wrong.
It's like a gremlin.
Yeah.
It's like the evil gremlins.
It's disgusting. The way she runs too with the little. Oh my god! With her tight ass too. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Tight ass.
It's like
she got a booty. She got a booty as a Titan.
It's insane. Yeah, they have like the hype is for moment. It's like, oh dang, she's going in, and then that's what she turns into, and you're like,
yeah. It's definitely like wind out of the sails instantly. It's kind of brutal.
Yeah. At least she,
there's like as that's all happening, as Ymir goes over the edge, Historia like chases after her and like almost falls. And I called her Historia. We find that out in a little bit. So Krista, currently Krista, soon to be Historia, falls over the edge, and I mean that's a cute scene. Yeah. Anyway, so Reiner like grabs her by the leg and saves her, but like is so triggered by like seeing Ymir's Titan that he's just like holding onto her leg and starts like crushing her ankle like as she's hanging over the edge, and he like has to snap back into reality. And there's a moment in that where they later in the season refer to themselves as warriors. Like that's the word they use to describe themselves, like as soldiers, as opposed to soldiers, they use the word warrior. And so there's a moment where Bertholdt tries to get, which we find out Reiner's got this egregious personality disorder that he's developed, which we find out when they're in the trees, is like he's been snapping back and forth like to cope mentally with what he's been doing between being an actual soldier and an actual comrade of like everyone on like within the walls, and being, you know, the mole, the traitor, as it were. And so that there's a moment where Bertholdt uses the word warrior to like try to snap him out of that, out of like his scout regiment personality. So it's just all these ridiculously subtle things. If you go back and watch those scenes, it's absurd writing. So yeah, the Ymir pops off, but only to a certain extent, and then
the scouts come through,
starts getting shredded, and the scouts show up. Like you said,
that was another baller ass moment too when they just show up, and it's almost like the Avengers showing up. They assembled and
exactly,
exactly.
You're just like, okay, man, the homies are here. Like, we're saved a little bit.
Yeah, Aaron gets his first kill as a human.
He gets his first kill. Yeah, he almost falls over when he lands. I think he actually might fall over. Yeah. He's still rusty, but.
Yeah,
he's so bloodthirsty that he just wants to get in the action, and homie just starts screaming at him like, "Yo, get the fuck out! Like, you're literally the most important part of this entire series. Get off the front lines."
Yeah, that's what makes it pay off so hard, is the amount of times where like there could be a save the day moment and the characters just fucking die is like when there finally is, as Historia is like running towards Ymir because she's getting shredded, and she's like, no, live, whatever, and a Titan comes out from behind the rocks. Mikasa, like just in time, flies in. You hear the ODM gear popping off. It's a great scene. It's so effective when people do end up getting saved.
They still all die. Like basically all of the scouts come through and they still die.
Yes.
Fucking homeboy wanted the liquor. Nothing but liquor. That's all he wanted. He was just basically on his deathbed wanting the liquor. And
that was that was earlier.
Thrown into the tower, and he finds this bottle on the ground. And he picks it up. He's like, "Oh, we're saved finally!" Like he just wanted a last drop before his death, and he picks it up. He's like, "Nah, fam, it's dirt dry," and he just gets picked up, and his head just hits the fucking windowsill.
I think that's
what a poor death.
Pre-Ymir transformation, because Krista had used the bottle of alcohol to sanitize Reiner's Titan bite.
It's messed up.
So he's just like, I just want one drink, man. He just doesn't get it. And I think he just says, "What a cruel world."
It's a horrible way to go.
Himself.
Yeah, I know, right?
Very true.
When you think about it, dang, it's even more of a waste. Sheesh.
So yeah, all that shit happens. All that goes down. Life and death and balance and all that stuff. And then we find them at the start of episode 6 atop the wall. And
it's finally freaking daytime. We getting a break. All right, man. It's been a tough battle. We chilling.
Every time there's a break in this show, especially on walls, they love to do this shit where they get on walls and kind of disrupt the day.
It's a very direct parallel. It's a very direct parallel to that scene in season 1 when they're finally like, yeah, dope, we did all the training, and then the Colossal appears behind him. Except this time the Colossal is just like, hey, bro.
This is such a
trying to come home to us. I wanted your reaction to it because it's the freshest and most immediate. So go ahead.
It was just so weird. Like it was off kilter. It was like completely unplanned. Yeah. I almost thought I was watching a blooper scene. Like for a second, I'm like he just starts like he's clearly out of his mind. And Bertholdt or whatever his fucking pussy ass name is, I'm gonna call him Bert because he's a pussy.
Bertie.
He's just like, yo, homie, are we doing this right now? He just starts spouting off at the mouth like, yo, I'm the Titan. We killed all your family. Like
it's probably one of my favorite reveals in anime because I've never seen something done like it, where if you watch sub, that's all I know. Like they're panning over, so they're just like there on the side of the screen. You got like, she's like, oh, get the horses, and then literally like under it is like 5 years ago we began our attack on humanity. Like,
yeah.
All right, what?
It's
that's
so casual.
I'm glad that
it's
you
like,
brought
what
that
the
up
fuck?
because I was like, dude, they're having a full-on conversation over here, like planning the next fight, and then he's just like, I'm the Colossal.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so so everyone's
and Mikasa's like not feeling it either. She's like, she just sits there and like her face is horrific because she can hear it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, she's like that one person that stays behind that can hear it, and you can just tell from her facial expression. She's like, "All right."
That was another chilly moment.
After that, they end up explaining like everything we talked about earlier, where like they suspected them from the beginning, like make sure you keep an eye on them, but if you like suspect anything, just act perfectly normal. And so Eren is being confronted with the people that killed his like entire town and his mother and all that shit, and he's like, he just has to be like, you guys are crazy, man. Like that's like, yeah, we're all so tired. Like that's such a weird thing to say. You're a hoot, Reiner. Like like that's let's go get some food. You guys must be tired. And they're just like, no. I'm the armored. He's the Colossal.
Almost go along with it, yeah. And like Bertold is like, all right, man. He's like, I don't know what I was thinking. And then they just like they give it a few seconds, and that flag snaps, and he's like,
yep.
I'm gonna take you with me, basically.
Yeah, and so the flag snaps as he faces his back to them, and so like he thinks that's they're on edge. You just got told, like you just got confirmation from the source that these are the people you've been looking for that fucked up like all of humanity, and so he's like as on edge as he possibly could be, and so he's trying to keep his cool, and he walks away. And so he's going to react to anything. And so the flag snaps off the wall and bounces down. And so that makes him reach for his blades. And it's like, why would he do that unless he was like about to do something at the drop of a hat? So he's like, it's like the snap. It's he has something to react to. And like, as like the muscle memory commands him to draw his blades basically before he can like even think to say, okay, like keep your cool, don't do anything. And so that's when they're like, okay, well, this has to go one way or the other now. And then Mikasa just fucking whips in, almost decapitates Berthold. Berthold manages to get a hand up, does the same thing to Reiner. And then as I think Reiner goes off the side of the wall and Berthold's on the top, and they both transform, and then Titan fight.
Yeah. I want to be excited about these Titan fights, but God, Eren is so like inexperienced, and it shows. But like he does a lot better this time.
Yeah,
but he still gets pummeled.
He goes back to the Annie and the training and stuff. He's learned a little bit. I do like this is something that makes me like Eren a lot more in a way. Like I feel like some people don't like him as a protagonist. I understand that he's super like doing the most. Like I'm just gonna go out and kill him and like. Almost one note and stuff. He's super serious, but I like how they're like falling, and he's like, "Dang!" Like Bertold and Reiner, he's remembering all these nice memories and stuff. He's like, and then it gets to him. He's like, "You damn traitors!" And he just turns it. He's like, just completely pissed. He has no freaking empathy left. He's just like
that leads into like the second half of the episode, and then it cuts back in, and I'm like, I want to watch that again. And then they show it literally again, like seconds later. And I'm like, thank God you showed it again, because that shit was clean. My man just full on, he's in the fist and shit. And he's like, fuck this, man. Get off me.
Yep.
Yeah,
dude.
Exactly.
He has that
his face into the wall. Yeah. Grinds that thing. God dang.
I'm pissed that the Colossal was there to save him with the meteor strike, basically, that he did, where he just fucking goes, like with the he's falling down. But you see you think everything is going well for Eren in the fight, and then Reiner just kind of drags himself into an area where Bertolt can help him, and I'm just like, no, don't do that.
Yeah, they come so close to, or he comes so close to actually killing him, like cracking him with the freaking joint locks and the muscle holds and all that stuff. Eren's ground game is elite. Who'd have thought Brock Lesnar would get beat on the ground? All right, I think Brock Lesnar might have been more of a striker than a ground guy. I actually have no idea, but
I couldn't tell you. But I do know that it was like the moves in this are like real MMA moves and like that kind of thing. Like it was studied to be like super that way, which is dope. And it's like
and there's
cool. Like,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry, finish.
No, it's just I like how it's like Aaron gets the frick beat out of him, and then there's finally like the stuff he learned. He can finally like, I basically just bring it to the ground, and like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you feel like you finally earned a freaking W.
Yeah, I
And then he
love again the subversion of expectations again with the whole shonen like monologue, protagonist monologue leading up to like a great moment, whatever. It's like Aaron is like gets his shit rocked for the first time, right? And then is like on the ground and he's monologuing in his head and he's talking about like, gotta erase you shouldn't be allowed to exist anymore, like all this stuff. He's amping himself up and he winds up for the punch and like goes in and just gets like the most massive uppercut to his jaw and gets sent like 500 yards across the battlefield. It's like, oh man, like this is why I love this show, is because every victory is earned. It's not like the power of friendship, the power of believing in yourself, like the more determined side will win. It's like there is powers on both sides and you have to use your like there's strategy, there's brute strength, there's everything that you have to put together to actually win the fight. It's not just going to give it to you just because you have plot armor. It's like that's what I love about the show so much. And then like you said with the realism with the MMA, he gets charged and he's like, I can't dodge it. Give me that neck. And so he's just like, he takes the charge and puts him in the muscle hold. And like you said, he's about to crack him open, but
And Mikasa slices the dude's leg, like his leg open. I think she just it's hype as frick. Man.
Yeah, Mikasa swerving around that fight the entire time, like getting hits in wherever she could, was cool as fuck as well. Because everyone else is up on the wall, like watching this absurd thing go down that no one would ever think they would ever see. Mikasa's just like doing whatever she can to get chip shots in.
Pretty much.
But yeah, then that's the dive bomb, and they make their way away with Eren.
Yeah. That's tough, man.
The dreaded kidnapped arc, but luckily the show kind of it keeps it interesting. It's not your typical kidnapped arc where he's like helpless and kept away. You know, they still keep the tensions high with even the antagonists are kind of out of gas. They can't really transform. They're still healing. They're still surrounded by Titans, so it's kind of like a deadlock in terms
of stalemate.
Survival. Yeah, so they're not. No one's in a losing state. They're just all kind of fucked together.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, it's more interesting than the typical one because he's not just sitting there. And they go like when they can, they go right after him. Basically, they assemble the suckers.
They literally go like right after him.
Yeah.
It's like not even an episode later, which I'm so thankful for.
Right. It's maybe one of the worst parts of a kidnapping arc is like, all right, he's kidnapped. Now we got to plan how to get him back, or like we got to wait or something. It's like, okay, bro.
Yeah, I think it's
they take something that normally takes an entire episode and a half and turns it into 15 minutes. You know.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah, for sure.
And all that was spent, you know, the venting of who is it? Is it Reiner or is it Bertolt that vents the little speech that he gives, where he's like, "We're murderers. Like, why would we want to murder people?" Like.
Yeah,
I think Bertolt.
I have that. Yeah, that's skipping ahead a little bit. But yeah.
Oh, my bad, my guy.
Sorry,
that's basically right there.
Yeah. I just there's the because it's as they're or wait. Oh, that is after. Never mind. But yeah, they have that. They just have that episode in the trees where they're in a stalemate, like you said. And then they have the whole Ymir backstory about the cult and like the crazy stuff. So we can skip back to that though, because that's a lot of world building as well. So I didn't want to skip over that. But yes, the speech. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was pretty impactful.
Yeah.
They still don't show their intentions, and they really don't show their allegiances yet. There's still a shitload that you don't know, and it's really frustrating. You kind of feel Eren's shoes, where he's not getting any answers, and he's not exactly asking the right questions either. He's just very lost mentally, which is totally understandable.
Yeah. So they catch up to him, and they have that scene I was gonna say where you talked about Mikasa's.
It's a good thing.
Oh, I think Alex is like lagging like a fuck.
You might be.
Am I lagging?
Fuck.
Am I lagging?
I think you're good. Just say what you were saying. Say what you were saying.
Okay, I was just saying that even though like we're talking about how it does it for a short time, it's not that long that he's kidnapped it. It also kind of feels like then if it's gonna be that short, then why would they do it? And I think that the speech part kind of adds some validation to that, because the fact is they're trying to get Eren on their side. Almost that's the whole point of them revealing it to him, is that they're like, bro, you can fight with on our side. This is our plan or whatever. And they don't know the full plan yet, but they're kind of revealing pieces. And so the whole point is for them to get Eren on their side, which is kind of interesting. Something that you kind of see in a few kidnap arcs, but
yeah,
it's cool.
I mean, to be fair, their plan probably would have worked a little better if Ymir didn't kind of throw the wrench in and say, "Hey, we're going back for the chick." Like, they had a plan to do it later.
Yeah,
and they kind of just got caught up in the moment. But I think they would have been totally fine if that hadn't happened. Obviously, the show does what it wants.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Is they insert Ymir in there as a wild card, as the wrench in the works of like this is a unknown party who's going to act upon its own motivations as opposed to like the motivation of either side of like we want to win the war. Ymir is just going to do whatever she wants to fulfill her personal satisfaction. So it's like, you know, you can't predict exactly what she's going to do, which is why I use the word wild card. But yeah, that's
me. Exactly.
Yeah.
She doesn't tell Eren nothing. He's like, you could tell me something. She's like,
I don't know about any of that.
I might be starting with them. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff going on with the kidnapping, like Alex was saying, that makes it worth it. Because you have the conflict with them, and then it sets up for the final battle quite nicely.
But yeah, them chasing down.
Final battle is pretty nice.
Them chasing down Reiner and Bertholdt running away, and you get the line. He said the line. He said the thing where Erwin is like telling them like this is what we're gonna do, and he goes, Shinzo Sasageyo, and they charge off, and then they finally get close, and he's like having this back and forth with a military police commander, where the military police is like, "Are you just using us as bait?" And he's like, "No, you fought well. Now follow me." And he's just completely dismissive of like whether there's any politics involved. He's like, "We're doing this now my way because I fucking said so," and that makes he's such a great commander in that way, and he's like. It's like the only thing that matters is getting Eren back. He says advance. He's like Suzume, and he gets clipped by a Titan, and he's got his one arm in the mouth, and he's hanging out. And they're like, "Fuck, we just lost Commander Erwin. Like, we're gonna fall apart." And as he's getting carried away, he yells, "Suzume!" And he's like, they're like, holy shit, like as he's dying, all he's thinking about is like, finish the mission, do what I say. Like
which definitely reaffirms his intentions of not using them as bait and actually sticking to the mission and dying to do so. Just because he's in the commander's slot doesn't mean he has immunity from the battle. Yeah,
it's textual proof that this guy is as ready to die for the mission as he is to send us off to our deaths for it. It's like he's assuming the exact same amount of risk we all are, so why should we do anything but follow his lead?
He's the homie.
He certainly is. It shows you
the guy.
Yeah. I'm glad he doesn't die. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, I
thought he was gonna die, and I was like,
yeah.
He's a really cool character.
Exactly.
I do have written in my notes, absolutely how in the fuck is Erwin alive?
He must just cut his own, he could like just cut his own arm off. I don't know.
He probably did, honestly.
He definitely could have. Like God, what is that book? Like 47 hours later or something like that, where he gets stuck in the
it's like 124 hours or something like that.
Yeah, and he has to basically cut his arm, he has to cut his wrist off or whatever.
Yikes. Yeah.
You do what you gotta do, man. That's fucked. But
yep. Indeed. Yeah, it's
that's super nuts.
That is nuts.
I don't know, man.
But this scene's great. It like shows. I feel like it's the only time so far that I've seen that where like someone is getting eaten by a Titan and they're just like, I don't give a frick. Like every time, like even like the most badass suckers, like as soon as like, you know, they're fricked, they react like a normal human. They're like, you know, calling out to their parents. They're freaking out. Erwin is like, I'm the hardest motherfucker alive. Advanced. Like, it's so good to me.
Facts. It's excellent.
Slow motion video right now.
So yeah, I absolutely love that scene where it's the entire you know, cadet corps, the new scouts, standing on the neck of Reiner as he's like covering them with Bertholdt with Eren strapped to his back, on the inside of his hands. And the you talked about Mikasa's face, the way they draw it earlier, where it's I talked about last season, like one of the most intimidating frames in anime is her staring down Eren. There's another one where she's staring down Bertholdt like through Reiner's fingers, like as he just barely covers him up, where it's just like you just see her eye with the shading around it, and Bertholdt's like shitting himself like inside.
I stuck my fucking sword in there, man. Are you shitting me?
Yeah,
I was thinking that the entire scene. I'm like, man, write me in the show. How about that? Like for 30 seconds, just give me 30 seconds.
I think she's trying not to stab Eren, but yeah, it's insane. Yeah, so he can heal. True, that's a fact. But so can Bertholdt. But anyway, so they're all in the neck, and they're all trying to understand like you know, how could it be you guys? Like, how are you guys the ones who betrayed us and stuff like that? And so John and all them are like saying different stuff, and there's a call out to well, that's I'll bring that up later in a future episode. But there's it's Armin that then like breaks him, that leads to the speech where he like Armin does this like movie reel flashback in his head, like almost like erased or whatever, where it's like he sees his memories like as a movie in front of him, and he takes like frames and he realizes like, oh yeah, Bertholdt was in love with Annie. And so he like he like in non-Armin fashion, like in a sadistic streak of that we haven't seen from Armin really, he preys on that heavily and is like, you know, you guys are really just gonna leave? You know, Annie's back there. We got Annie in a basement. We've been torturing her for weeks, man. Like, Annie's like in rough shape. You guys are just gonna leave her there? And like, that's all completely false. Annie's hardened, locked away. Like, no one's touching Annie. But they just know, like, they don't know that that's not the truth. And so he loses his shit. He has that whole moment where he talks about like, do you think we wanted to do this? You think anyone would kill this amount of people, like, by their own choice, like, stuff like that? So you get a whole nother look at, like, they seem to just be soldiers. Like, we don't know who they work for still. They're just still pawns in this game, as strong as they are. So it's like, what the fuck is going on behind the scenes there, where the motivations are as they are, and they seem to be so distraught about what they're doing, but simultaneously so committed to doing it, that it doesn't make a lot of sense. So weird. I like to see that develop as it goes on.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely need answers, but Armin is pretty quick thinking on his feet, man.
Yeah,
that scene was hilarious. Honestly, like,
yeah,
he gets out of pretty tight situations. Even like he's like delivered as like the shaking your boots kind of character, where he's a little too scared. He's not that adept at fighting, but kind of does what he can.
Yep.
He just comes through, man, when he needs to, when the pressure's on, bro.
Yes.
That stove's hot, he delivers, man.
The brains of the operation.
He's fucking awesome.
Brainy boy, for sure.
I love the bowl cut too. It reminds me of me in 6th grade.
Yeah, I don't know about that here though. I don't know about it.
Armin is cute as shit.
Yeah, I don't know. He looks like a freaking cowardly lion from the freaking Wizard of Oz.
That's an apt comparison.
That's going
with that scruff.
Yeah. So yeah, they do all that. They trigger the hell out of him. Go ahead.
He gets triggered, release the arm, and then dang sucker, Erwin just flies back in, slashes Bertholdt like, I'm not dead. Freaking like,
I'm not dead.
The hype, yeah.
It's great, yeah. And so they manage to get Eren back, and they realize that, and he says, "Okay, well, let's not let this opportunity go to waste. Full retreat." And they all just piece the frick out on the horses.
Erwin's strategy of running a whole herd of Titans into them is insane, and like
insane is the operative word for everything that man does. He lives on the freaking edge of insanity at all times.
Yeah,
I didn't even know how he did it, because he managed to get in front of them.
Yeah,
a herd of Titans from where they were going.
Yeah,
they were chasing them the whole time. It was kind of a mind fuck, and almost like
I wonder that too.
Like, they really didn't have any other destination that they wanted to take the scene other than just say, "Hey, Erwin's got these Titans out of nowhere." I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it seemed like they wanted you to believe that like the horses were just faster enough than that's English. just faster enough is what I'm going to go with anyway. Then the armored Titan running away, that he was able to like peel out and around and then back. But it's like who's really doing the math there? They just kind of do it and ask you to accept it and move on.
It's a little but it's fine.
Yeah. So that's we're now at the end of the second to last episode, at which they all start escaping, and then a freaking Titan comes hurtling through the air. Welcome to the Olympic sport of Titan throwing, brought to you by Reiner Braun. So they just like that's a minefield to avoid, a bombing. Like, talk about throwing cows with catapults. Imagine a Titan hurling Titans. The way they land and they just shred the landscape, that will let you know, like, if you're underneath that, you're gone. You're dust. Might as well be.
Yeah. So
they're struggling with that, and then what Titan would appear? But the one one we saw the first.
Yeah.
Hello, I ate your mother, and now I'm back.
Yeah,
this was fucked up, man.
And
I felt for Eden even more, because he wasn't the one that was attacking him. I think Hans was the guy that ends up dying for it or whatever. But this scene was fucking heartbreaking, man, because he just starts gnawing through his hand like, yo, I need
shredding
to kill this. I literally, my entire existence is to kill this one Titan, right? And so he just starts going right through his hand. This was also painful to watch because I hate these scenes, but couldn't get it done, man. And I felt so bad for him, but
yeah. And Mikasa's like
the deal.
Mikasa was almost like trying to talk him out of it or stuff like that, and he's like talking about like Hannes has this or something like that, or like someone else will do it, and he's like he's pissed, not because he wants to go help Hannes, but because he was like, it has to be me. Like, it can't be him. It has to be me. Like, I'm going to be pissed if Hannes kills this Titan before I get the chance to. He's like, that was his, like, extra motivation, was, like, the another streak of sadism, another streak of his psychopathy, whereas, like, he's motivated, but perhaps not for the right reasons. He's just, like, utter revenge. He doesn't even care, like, about the guy in front of him, not necessarily. So, he does, but it's like
a mix, yeah.
It's a mix, yeah.
When Hans dies, which is brutal, they just have to sit there and watch. He's like,
yep.
I think he says something to the effect of like, I haven't done anything. Like, I haven't gotten any better. I haven't accomplished anything. I couldn't fight this Titan, and it just ate another person that I cared about.
It's another bone-chilling moment, because that's when we talked about Attack on Titan in Top 10 Anime All Time, and I talked about that it just decks your, power of determination, power of whatever, shonen expectations of like, at the crucial moment the protagonist will succeed is what we've seen with every show. And it's just like this, when I talked about that in that episode, this is the moment that I was thinking of. Whereas like, we return in the final episode of season 2 to the original Titan that we had a problem with, and it's like, this would be the time to stand up and be strong and kill this Titan and have this crazy moment. And instead, we just get Eren like maniacally laughing on all fours on the ground, and then just like scream crying about how useless he is and how like devastated he is to like not have been of any use to killing any Titans. And like, he's come so far. It's been 5 years, I think, right? And it's just like, he still can't kill the one Titan in front of him, and he's just miserably frustrated.
And then you get the most like heartwarming scene, I think, right after, right, where Mikasa basically just confesses her love to him, and you gave me the scarf. Like, that was almost a tearjerker moment. And then he stands up and he's like, you know what? I'll do that as many times as you want. And he just like he just like is overcome with so much rage that he unlocks that potential in him to, I guess he's what they call the coordinate, right? That's what they call him.
Yep.
And he just basically controls the nearby Titans, and they have a feast on the mom killer, which is pretty great. They rip that motherfucker to shreds like a rotisserie chicken.
Yeah,
and he like the Titan is so impeccably drawn in a way like a clown would be. it almost like brings back those kind of memories. But like it's even smiling through its death. Like it can't not smile because it's so fucked up.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and
I think
it's crazy how well they design it, because you recognize the one Titan out of all these Titans when you see it. And
that smile is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's so they have that tender moment, and then they do like the subtle lean in, like, and you're like, are they gonna kiss? Are they? Is this gonna? And then Eren just stands up. He's like, we ain't out here kissing. I'm here to kill Titans.
I'm still not sure how I feel about, like, because I feel like they'll probably end up together. I'm not necessarily sure like where the show will go with them, but they're like family, man. Like it's a little weird for me because it's like a big sister, little brother.
He's like, yeah.
They're literally family, but they're not. So no Pornhub stepbro memes year. They're free to do as they wish. But it's just so it's kind of heartbreaking how much she loves him and how much he's determined to not see it. Not necessarily not determined to see it, but more so he's so consumed with his mission to kill everything that he can't see her love for him.
Pretty much.
Within that same vein, we haven't talked about it much. I didn't write really anything on it, but there are nice moments throughout that are almost moments of levity, where they have the flashback. I mean, they're character building as well, and context building, where the flashbacks of Eren and Mikasa, especially as kids, and they talk about like a call all the way back to I mean, it is just their childhood, but the season 1 episode 1 where he gets in a fight and Eren starts running towards the thugs, and they're like, oh, let's beat up Eren again, and then Mikasa's behind him, and they're like, oh shit, it's Mikasa, run. They talk about like, oh, did Mikasa have to bail you out of that fight again? Like, why are you picking fights? Like, did Mikasa have to beat up the kids? And like, you just find out, yes, like Mikasa is just like a thug in the streets, just like messing people up that mess with Eren. And they have that whole fight in the square, and Hannes is like drunk as a skunk cheering him on and stuff like that. So there are cute moments like that.
That too, where they give him the shine a couple times where he's like, I want to return to the old days, and that's what I'm fighting for. And I guess he didn't really appreciate what he had back then, where it was just mischievous kids in the streets just kind of fighting, whatever. And his entire motivation is to get back to those happy times where the least of their worries, or the most of their worries, was them fighting in the streets.
Street fights, yeah, he has that really nice moment when they're on top of the wall. He's talking to Mikasa and Armin, and they're about to go get Eren back. And he's like, it's not going to be the good old days without you three. Like, we have to have all three of you, so let's go get Eren. It's a nice moment there.
Almost like a long-lost uncle kind of thing. But
Hans is dope. And then they just
kill him off. But
yeah.
He was a dope dealer for sure.
For sure. Dope dealer incorporated.
Dope dealer incorporated. Yeah, so I mean, he's a side character, but they establish him well, and they make you care about him at least a certain degree, and then they just make you watch as he gets bit in half in front of your eyes.
I definitely care for him.
So
It doesn't. Nobody is safe in this show.
Nobody is safe. True. That is confirmed constantly.
Very true.
So
I mean,
go ahead.
Have the final hype, and they basically just like, okay, the village, they confirm all this stuff. They talk to Erwin. He seems like, okay, we figured something out. Basically, like, I believe that's the scene where he's kind of like,
it's Erwin, Levi, and Hanji all in a room, and they say, based on everything we know, the most likely scenario is that all Titans were born as humans and then turned into Titans. Is what we believe to be the case. And there's a really good moment where Levi's voice actor shines constantly, but especially in his subtlety in the lines like this. And he just I'm not going to do it as well as he can, and I'm going to do it in English. But he goes, so you're telling me I've spent all this time and energy running around killing people? Is that right? And so he's like I've been losing comrades just to kill other people who, like, we don't know anything about them. It's just it completely rearranges the narrative of, it was humanity against this unknown force, these Titans, these, like, from wherever they come, they are killing us and can't be reasoned with, so we have to kill them first. And to find out, you know, they're coming from somewhere, these were people, is like just completely rearranges the way that the conflict is posed in the entire show. It's like, who are we fighting really?
Yeah.
So,
which on that note, Levi's voice actor is amazing. So is Irwin's.
yep.
They're both in Kuroko no Basket. You pricks.
Oh.
So get reason to watch that.
I have like
It's sub or dub?
The sub, yeah, the sub actors, yeah.
I have like 5 episodes left of Haikyuu, and then I'm watching Kuriko's next. So
we lit.
there you go.
Yeah, but it's dope. I mean, that's a great scene, and you know.
But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm not
thinking out loud.
Yeah.
What happens? Just what happens to like all of their internal organs when they transform into a Titan?
They just get big, I guess.
Yeah, that's
but does everything inside them just digest itself?
Yeah, that's-
they don't have any.
Their nuts fall off. Like what happens?
That's
Yeah,
what we don't know is like the anatomy of a Titan when it's a Titan that like is permanent. Probably we don't necessarily know anything about that. Of like, could the human that was transformed into this Titan be extracted in one form or another? Because they talk about the Beast Titan says it like very early on, is like, oh, you guys use blades, that must mean you figured out we reside in the nape, and you see that over and over again, is the you know, the pilots, for lack of a better word, coming out of the nape of the neck. And so we have to wonder, like could there be people inside every Titan and we just can't see it because you just have the one long swish of the blades and then they dissolve.
No, but they've surely dissected Titans before,
and they don't find a person in it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious that the cognitive Titans are different in many ways from
Yes.
regular
Right.
Titans. So
Yeah.
it's still weird.
So
Still a lot of
you're-
unknowns.
So yeah, you're right. They've probably basically confirmed, or not probably, they've basically confirmed that like there is no person necessarily inside of every Titan, the ones they've caught, right? So yeah, so that's a good point.
Yeah.
Glad you said that. But yeah, they do a phenomenal job continuously of posing more questions than they actually answer, because you know, Eren saves his own ass with the coordinate. And you know, Reiner says, you know, this is why of all people did it have to be you? Why how did this power fall into the worst hands possible? Like, how could it have been? It should have been anyone but him, and we'd be having a better time.
Yeah.
And so, but they just reference it as the coordinate. He seems to have some sort of power over Titans. They don't explain what it is or how it works or anything like that. After there's a scene between John and Armin and Eren, where Armin and Jean tell him, you know, based on what we know, we think that you somehow have the power to control Titans. We think the way those Titans behaved was directly because of you, is the way they phrase it. So yeah, we got all sorts of Titan powers. We don't know exactly what's going on. We still don't know who anyone is really working for. We don't know where the alliances lie. We don't know where the borders are. So
that's like the biggest question on my mind, is like, just why are they fighting against the human race? That's my biggest question that needs answers. So
Exactly. Yeah.
time for season 3 to allude a little more to that, and then not answer it. But
yeah, so then, if you guys don't have anything else, season 2 closes with that dramatic music and the shots of all the characters, and then that
King Kong and Indiana Jones on top of them.
And Indiana Jones. Yeah, dude. So we get the far zoom across the fields of between the second and third walls with all the Titans and everything, and perched on the outer wall is the Beast Titan with someone on its shoulder.
Someone.
My man with the Sir Hammerlock glasses.
Those are pretty elite. Yeah.
The monocle.
Yeah. So, dang, man, season 2. I think it's better than season 1. I've thought that for a while. When I first watched the show, it was like the season that like really got me hooked. Like, I liked season 1 when I got back to it, but I was like, oh dang, So I'm a big fan of it, and it's kind of an interesting question because season 1 was so hyped, and then people have talked about this obviously before, but by the time season 2 came out, the hype kind of died down, and it wasn't as hype. But it's kind of like the sleeper hit for me because it's better. I think season 2 is season 2 is a 9 out of 10 for me. I think it's amazing.
Awesome.
And I'm hyped for what's next. I guess we'll see.
Very good, very good.
Alex, what say you?
It's not as easy for me to say. I really do like season 1, not to season 2's discredit, but yeah, I'll give season 2 a solid 8. That's just what it is. I mean, they fit a whole lot into 12 episodes, where it seems like it could be 24 episodes and all the stuff that they packed into it. But yeah, the fire intro. Yeah. Every time you watch the episode, you get hyped. You can't skip this intro. At least I can't. I know Trevor probably does.
I skipped it 11 times, so
I watched it every time.
Yeah, you gotta get hyped. It's only a minute.
You ain't Demon Slayer, baby.
We'll get Trevor eventually.
This wipes the floor with freaking Demon Slayer's intro. Easy freaking peasy. Absolute fact.
I disagree with that, but
we're not here to diss that. That's a great song too.
Yeah,
that is probably the stupidest thing David's ever said.
Dang.
No, I'm playing. That is Sasageo for life. So I have to say.
Yes, let's get it. Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Trevor.
I give it a nice 8. I enjoyed this season. I enjoyed it. Certain parts I enjoyed more than season 1. It's hard. It's hard to compare them, so I'm trying not to. The moments with Ymir and I'll call her Historia, I hate their relationship. Honestly, I think it drives me insane every time I see them on screen together. But that's pretty much the only downside of it, and it kind of throws it down 2 points for me. Honestly, it's because they do quite a lot with them, and I'm just not into it at all. But that's me. Everything else is pretty great. They, like Alex said, they stuff a lot in the 12 episodes. It's pretty fantastic. Not too much to complain about. Yeah, excited for season 3. So.
Yep. Yeah, that's actually something that I said we were going to go back to, and then we skipped over. So the scenes with Ymir and Historia, and especially Ymir's backstory, where she ends up as the godhead of some cult somewhere at some unknowable time and place, and she, they get found out, and they have that scene where they're getting pushed off the wall, and you see the Titan transformation light in the background, and it's just more questions that we need answered. Is what the fuck is going on here? So I think I disagree with you wholeheartedly on that. I like the dynamic between them and how they set that up, and how that establishes Ymir and Historia's character both. So
cool. Insane, but
yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, subjectivity and all that good stuff. But yeah, I love the characters. I think season 2 obviously benefits, as any well-executed show does, from having the groundwork laid for it before, so you don't have to explain all the ODM gear and stuff like that. You can just get straight into the ass kicking. So yeah, it's another 10 from me. I like it better than season 1 as well, and I gave season 1 a
10s out. So
I just love this show to death, dude. I mean, honestly, on first watch, it'd probably be an 8.5 or something like that. But watching it in hindsight, and all the subtleties and the absurdly good writing, and the way the music works with every scene, and all the intricacies, all the red lines connecting on that detective's whiteboard or whatever. It's it's intense. So I love the show a lot. I'm just gonna ride that wave until it fades out from underneath me, I guess. I don't know. It's I'm an Attack on Titan stan. That's how it is. I'm a Titan throwing enthusiast. So it's till the day I die, for sure. I love the show.
Okay.
Closing remarks.
Yeah, it's been real, guys. Well, we hope you are joining us on this journey. If you're a new anime box watcher or anything like that from our Demon Slayer episode, welcome. We hope you are liking this, man. So see you on the next one. Interested to see what our season 3 been real, as I said already.
Yeah, David said, if you're new, thank you for coming along with us for the journey. We're going to keep doing all these until we go to the moon, baby. We're here to the moon.
Uh-huh.
To the moon.
That's just the way it is. Season 3 Attack on Titan is coming in hot. Faster than you think we're going to be talking about it. Yep. Yep, you know where to find us. You know where to talk to us. All the links is in your face, and you can click them. That's what links are for. And with that, I'll say I love you all.
Yeah, all the links are there on YouTube. If you're there on audio and need a little help, I'll tell you it's at Unboxing Life Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and r/Unboxing Life Podcast, and then Apple reviews and all that good stuff that we love to ask you guys for, because if it wasn't important, we wouldn't ask. So yeah. Do all that good stuff, rate,
like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, all that great stuff.
Ring the bell as well. Thank you.
So yes, the season 3 will be coming in hot. I can't wait. Honestly, it's we are mowing through this series real quick, like Titans mow through humans, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm glad we're covering this, and then we'll take it easy probably after the series for a little bit, as we've been saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, so. As I think I'm gonna start saying more often, just like Trevor said, just stay chilling and get to growing old, because only the lucky ones make it that far, right? So, be kind to each other and stay safe.
Sweet, yeah. Be excellent to each other. That's like the bottom line. Please, just respect your fellow humans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a great show. I'm very excited that we're on season 3 now, and we'll be on season 4 very shortly as well.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that'll be 2 parts, because we're only halfway through that right now, but that'll come later on down the line. We'll finish the show up, and we're just chilling, man. That's it. It's over. This episode went far too long. I'm on, I thought this episode was gonna be like an hour tops. We're an hour and 35 in, but we're out here. Yeah, that's it. Peace out, baby. Forever.
Yeah.
Why forever?
Fantano.